guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you are keeping well. So in today's video I decided that I'm gonna talk about the cost of living in Zim for two reasons really. The first reason is a similar video that I did on this particular topic did well, judging by the size of this particular channel. And the second reason is I've actually been asked quite a lot about how my expenses have changed and how they typically look like. So I decided that, you know what, let's just make a video out of it. Also, maybe I'm just going to give you guys a bit of background on how these expenses will be structured. So first things first, I stay at home. So I do not pay for rent. I do not have the accommodation cost. But I did, however, make sure to do some research for me to be able to make this video. And I'm going to start with the expenses that I actually incur, and then I'll add on those hypothetical expenses that I would definitely incur if I was staying by myself. So without wasting much time, let's jump right into today's video. So my first expense, that is the Wi-Fi bill and the phone bill. So for Wi-Fi, I pay $60, which is for the unlimited package. I need Wi-Fi because most of the work that I do is done online. And for my phone bill, I typically spend about $10 a month. That is for me to be able to make calls or even to be able to use my phone for data if I'm not at my house. So that's generally how much I spend. So roughly about $60 for those particular expenses every month. So now moving on to my next expense, which is transport or generally car expense. So the first expense that I have is fuel. So for fuel, I normally spend around about $40 to $50. And this is for when I'm just driving from home to town or sometimes home to the gym. Not so many errands for me to be able to actually spend as little as $40 because it can get really high. Fuel is now very expensive in Zim. The next expense that I also have, for you to now also drive on the Zimbabwean roads, you're required to pay some licenses and insurance, and for this you normally spend around about $35 per term, which can then be estimated to be about $10 to $12 per month. So I'll just say it's $10. And the last license that we have been made to pay lately is radio license. Just let me know wherever you're watching from if you actually also pay for radio licenses for your car. And they normally also ask for about $31 the last time I checked per term, so which means that's also another additional $10 a month. So for my car expenses, rounding everything up, if you were to just take the rounded figures, I think this will definitely come to about also another $60 for just fuel and the different licenses that you need for you to be able to drive your car. But if you're someone who doesn't need to drive and you want to use public transport, it's definitely cheaper. So if you are to use public transport, it's 50 cents per trip. So that is 50 cents for you to be able to get from wherever suburb you stay to and to get in town. But I did hear that some towns are actually more expensive, like Harare. I personally stay in Gweru, so it's actually a little bit cheaper. But in Harare, I've heard that people pay as high as $1 for just one trip. So now moving on to my next expenses, which is subscriptions. So I'm currently paying for the gym membership, which is $30 a month. Your girl's trying to get in shape this year. I hope it works out with the consistency because that's my biggest problem. But anyway, story for another day. And my other subscription is for Adobe, which is for the whole Creative Cloud, all of the apps that Adobe has. And the other part of my subscription is for my Spotify subscription, which I share with my friends, for which I'm currently paying about £3. So adding all that up, I think it all comes up to about $50 a month for subscriptions as well. And then the next expense that I have is getting my hair done. So for the braids, I normally spend around about $10 to $15 to just get the braiding hair. And then for me to also now get my hair done, I normally spend between $15 to $20. So I'll say roughly about $30 per month. So now my next expense is eating out. Honestly, eating out is an expense that varies quite a lot. It can be very low one month, it can be very high some other month, but I think a good average that I'll settle for is about $30 for when I pay when I go out. I also maybe just want to let you guys know what an average meal would cost you if it's a meal for two people. I think with $20 to $30 you can definitely have a very decent meal in my city, that is. And then now to also add some other other miscellaneous costs that I sometimes have where I'm buying toiletries or any other things that I may just want to buy, I think that US dollars is a budget that I've sort of like been averaging on. So I'll just say miscellaneous costs for me are at $30 US. So now moving on to the next expense, which is food and groceries. This is kind of a little bit hard for me to be able to estimate because I currently stay at home. And at home, we also grow most of our vegetables, and we also have a project where we keep chickens, and that's where we get most of our meat from. So as far as vegetables are concerned, we grow things like baby marrow, carrots, cauliflower, broccoli, onions, pepper, tomatoes, basically every vegetable that we really consume, to be honest. And we just eat whatever is in season. Whatever we have at the float is what we eat, and whatever is in season. So we just eat the vegetables that we can't take to market, the ones that are sort of like the rejects, but which can really be consumed. So those are the ones that we normally eat. And then as far as like the meat that we eat is concerned, we also eat those that chicken which doesn't grow so well, the ones that have the most stunted growth. So that also reduces our food bill so much. And then we also buy most of our food in bulk, like the non-perishables. The non-perishables are normally bought in bulk, so the food that we buy may last us 3 to 6 months. So our food expense, like on a monthly basis, could just be for bread and a little bit of fruits and maybe some other types of meat like beef and pork and maybe sausage. However, if I was to stay by myself, I think with $60 US I'll be able to survive on that and be able to buy my own food for my own household. So now moving on to the next hypothetical expense. So I did visit a real estate agent to ask them how much it typically costs for me to maybe rent a 1-bedroom apartment, one that's in the CBD or really close to town. And I was told that the range is, for a single person, it's between $150 to $250 US. So taking the midpoint with $200 US, you can be able to get decent accommodation in Gweru per month. And I think that's probably what I would pay for if I was to choose to move out. But I'm a cheapskate, so for now I stay at home and I won't really need to spend as much. So now adding everything up, my current expenses currently stand at $260 US. But this cost does fluctuate quite a lot because some months I could spend more and some months I really could spend less on maybe eating out, on maybe things like fuel. But the ones that are really fixed is definitely the Wi-Fi, the phone bill, and the subscriptions. Those are the ones that I would really say are somehow fixed. But some of these can really vary quite a lot. But if I was to move out as well and decide that I want to stay by myself and pay rent and also buy my own food, I think the cost could also now jump up to somewhere around $520 to $550 US. So that's it, guys, from me. If you wanted to really know how much it actually costs to live in Zim, that's what I typically spend on a monthly basis as a single person. I think the budget would definitely be different for a family. So that's it, guys, for me, and thank you so much for watching. If you really enjoyed this video, please do subscribe to the channel. I've actually gotten to realize that more than 50% of you who watch this channel are actually not subscribed. So if you really want to support me, do go ahead and click that subscribe button. So I'll see you in the next video. And also, one thing I also wanted to ask you guys was, what type of videos are you really looking forward from me? What type of videos would you be interested in seeing from me? I really would love to hear your thoughts and your opinions. I'll definitely make sure to add those video suggestions to my list. So thank you. I'll see you. Bye. Take care.